I'm Councillor Carl Jordan, and I will be chairing this meeting this afternoon. Can I ask that your phones are switched to silent for the duration of this meeting? And I wish to remind you of members signing in remotely of the legal obligations to have their cameras switched on during the meeting in order to be seen and heard while participating in the council business. In addition, when I ask to raise your hand, members who are virtually viewing this meeting, could you raise your electronic hand, please? Just to let members know, there are no members in the room today, so all questions will be raised via you being online. Thank you. We're not due to a fire drill, so should the fire alarm sound during this meeting, can I ask that you all please make your way to the nearest exit? To the members online, we will try and come back in after the fire alarm panel has been checked by the fire service to rejoin the meeting. Thank you very much. So agenda item 2, declarations of interest. Members, do you have any declarations of interest, please? I see none. So we move on to agenda item 3, which are the minutes of the previous meeting. You can see that these minutes are attached at pages 5 to 14 of your agenda packs. And if you feel that these meetings are an accurate record of the meetings, can I please have a proposer and a seconder? And if members do not indicate to the contrary, then I would take that these minutes are approved. I'm happy to propose these meetings. Members, can I have a seconder, please?
I'll be the second, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Henton.
So just to confirm, Chair, I can see no indications to the contrary, so the minutes are approved.
Thank you, Alison. Thank you, Councillor Henton. Agenda item 4A is the capital budget monitoring report for 2024 to 2025. Again, these can be found in your agenda packs on pages 15 to 34. Can I ask the officers, do you have anything further to add to the report, please?
Just to add, Chair, that this report was considered by Cabinet and the recommendations approved last week. I'm happy to move to questions, Chair. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you. Members, we have 2 questions that were raised in pre-brief. They were with Councillor Reynolds and Councillor Percy. We'll take it in the order of them. Are there any further members requiring a question? Can you raise your hands, please? So firstly, Councillor Reynolds, do you want to come in with your question, please? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Just generally on the capital programme to start, I have several questions. So generally on the capital programme to start, is there a breakdown available of how much of these funds were Neath Talbot's own funds and how much were from other sources?
Should I answer them in turn, Chair?
Yeah, can we go in turn then, Councillor Reynolds, please? Thank you. Thank you, Hugh.
Yes, so there is a breakdown available. It's not included within the report, so I can get that circulated to all members of the Scrutiny Committee, Chair.
That would be wonderful. Thank you, Hugh. Second question is just generally there are comments. There's a space for comments on all of the items that are listed in the tables. Yet it seems very much as though only some have actually got a comment against them, and there are some that I would like to query. Can I ask that we have, in future when these things are presented, and for some specifics that I have, and I've just lost my place on the papers, that there are, that we have a breakdown or a reason given. And that would be really useful because if there's a big variance, it would be nice to know why, or if it's just being carried over, or what the situation is. I have a question on the Pontardawe Arts Centre cinema, and that was very much what was the unforeseen site works, please.
Right, I'll take those in order, Chair, Councillor Reynolds. So in terms of the comments, what we've tried to do is just provide a comment where there are significant variances, but if you feel that there are some which we haven't covered, please flag them up and I can respond to you separately. In terms of the Pontardawe Art Centre, if I just refer to my notes a second. So the main unforeseen events were relating to service diversions, which were more complicated than we first thought. There was some specialist equipment that was required in the new art centre, which wasn't in the original schedule, and there were some other minor amendments to the existing building, and all the additional costs, which come to around £200,000, have been met from Welsh Government funding.
Thank you. That's lovely to know. The other specific one was the Shared Prosperity Fund, the open call, research and development on page 30. The comment just says there was no overall underspend. So that implies there were no bids at all for that fund, or that there was no spend at all on that fund, at least. So what are the implications of that, given that we put out that programme? And that's probably not you, Hugh, it's probably somebody else, but.
No, I don't have the answer to that, I'm afraid, and I don't know if there's anybody from the Environment Directorate on the call. I know that that Nicola's on leave this week. I don't know if there's anybody else. I can't see without my glasses on who's on the call or not. If not, we'll get an answer back on that question again, circulated to all members of the committee.
Thank you very much. And just to compliment you, Hugh, on the work involved in all of this.
Thank you, it's very kind.
Thank you, Councillor Reynolds, for your questions, answers from Hugh as well. Thank you. Councillor Percy, please.
Yeah, diolch yn fawr. Thanks, Chair. Councillor Reynolds actually asked two of the questions I had, so I've only got one left now, which is great. So in relation to page 23, Brodeer is mentioned about a change in brief. So the underspend is mainly due to a delay due to a change in brief. And I'm just wondering what the change in brief was and whether the overall budget has changed there, because obviously all I can see is there's an underspend in that particular financial year. And that's just another point, I suppose, just in terms of us interpreting I can't say that word now, interpreting these reports I got there, that sometimes it's not clear, because projects span more than one financial year, whether spending is being delayed or whether the overall project cost has changed. And that's just something that's just a little bit tricky for us to look at. But if I could have a response on that, it'd be really appreciated. Diolch.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So if I take the second point first, that's a really good point in terms of, obviously these are single financial year profiles and these capital projects could span up to 3 years. So I will try to think of a way where we can present the total project cost as well to see if we're on track. And I don't know quite how to do that, but I'll take that on board as a legitimate comment. In terms of the Ysgol Gynraedd Cymraeg Brodeer project, the change was due to the inclusion of a new immersive room in the project, which required specialist equipment, a bit of tinkering around with the sort of physical design as well. So that was included outside of the brief. There was no additional cost because the funding available for the original project came in less than budget. So all of that additional work has been met within the same project envelope. Because of the sort of time taken to design it, it's delayed the project a bit. So that's the reason for that underspending year.
Yeah, okay, that's great.
Any further questions, Sean? Are you happy with the response?
Yeah, happy. Councillor Reynolds covered off the other two questions, so no problem.
Lovely. Thank you, Councillor Percy. Councillor Charlotte Goldsworthy, please.
Yeah, thanks for that, Chair. I think it's page 21, there's overspend on the crash in Carmarthen, and it's a considerable amount. So I just hoping that you can confirm, obviously, how that's come about as such a great overspend.
Again, I don't know the specific. Yeah, I can see the 272 on the overall childcare offer. I don't know the specific answer to that, I'm afraid. Sorry, I'm not in the detail of all these individual projects, but again, I'll add it to the list of projects to issues to circulate to all members of Scrutiny after the meeting.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, councillors. I can't see any further questions on screen unless I'm missing anyone. In that case, then, again, I'm requesting that members are asked to note this report. Agenda item 4B is the annual Treasury Management Outturn Report. These can be 2024 to 2025. These can be found in your packages at 35 to 100, please. Officers, do you have anything further to add to the report, please?
No, nothing further to add, Chair. Thank you.
Members, do you have any questions for the officers? No, you can't see any questions on screen, so thank you for that. Members again asked to note the report. Moving on to agenda item 4C, the revenue outturn and reserves position statement 2024 to 2025, pages 101 to 114 on your agenda packs. Again, officers, do you have any further to add to the report, please?
Just to add, Chair, that this is obviously the end of year report for the revenue budget for last year, which resulted in a net underspend of £2.1 million, which is primarily due to the fact that we had some very late Welsh Government funding to help towards the cost of pay awards, which we'd already budgeted for, so that resulted in an underspend. So that's it, Chair. Thank you. Happy to take questions from members.
Thank you, Hugh. Again, we have two questions raised in pre-brief. Again, these are from Councillor Reynolds and Councillor Percy. You both requested to speak. We go in the order received. Again, can we have a question from Councillor Reynolds, please?
Thank you, Chair. Again, I've got a few. Where we say on the first page of this report, page 103, net underspend of 2.1 million after accounting for ring-fence budget. This underspend is mainly due to the unexpected additional grant income received from Welsh Government. Is that additional income over and above the original allocated RDP, please?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. So that is an additional one-off specific grant that we received notification of late in the year from the Welsh Government that we hadn't budgeted for. So that resulted in a net underspend. So yes, you're quite correct, Councillor Reynolds.
Thank you very much. If we go then to page 104, I'm looking at the deficit in school budgets. That was predicted at 7.6 million, which is huge. However, came in at 2.55. That's still, if my calculations are correct, and I'm not the best at maths, a 15,000% increase. That's ridiculous. 150 times what the previous year was. It's of concern, and I wondered, given what the clear plans might be from the department to deal with that. It's a huge increase.
I think I've got my colleague, Mr. Andrew Thomas, on the call. Before I bring Andrew in, I will just say that the projection was a £7.6 million deficit. But again, we had additional funding from the Welsh Government, which we chose to put entirely into schools. I think that was around £2.5 million. And there was another grant, again, which towards, I think it was the cost of teacher salaries that we went straight into school. So that's what reduced deficit from the eye-watering 7.6 to the 2.5 million. But perhaps I'd hand over to Andrew just to add some sort of context around what the position is around schools going forward, maybe.
Yeah, thank you, Hugh. Thank you, Councillor Reynolds, for the question. The first thing I'd say is the 7.6 million was a projection, as it says in the report. So that was a projection at the early part of the year. The school bursars and school business managers do tend to err on the side of worst case scenario. And of course, all the additional money that did come in at the end of the year wouldn't have been known to them. So I suppose the projection, one could argue, was probably stating a case which was not likely to manifest. The £2.5 million or £2.7 million which we closed on, obviously is of concern. Part of the reason also that we reduced that deficit from the projected 7.6 is work is continued with our schools around the recovery plans. Every school in deficit has a recovery plan. We're doubling down on those meetings to make sure that schools get back to a balanced budget as quickly as possible. That's probably more successful in some places than others. Some have very difficult situations because the numbers are of ALN in their schools, but nevertheless, we're working with those schools to try and find solutions. And that's obviously something that we will be picking up. And that's all we can say at the moment. We'll be picking this up as part of our budget setting process for next year. It's one of our major considerations. There's no guarantees in all that, obviously, but it is something that we are looking to address as part of the delegated budget settlement next year.
Thank you, Andrew. It's of great concern, I have to admit, and I'm sure it is for you as well.
Certainly is.
I'm also, this may well stay with you, Andrew, sorry, looking at the homeschool transport. If I'm clear about that, there was a requirement for a 350k expected saving there, and we've ended up with a 495 overspend. Is that taking into account that we didn't make the saving, or is it is it required to add those two together?
But yeah, I'm going to have to defer to the accountants on this one, only because it's only because I too, when I read that, I was wondering which way they've presented the figure. So I don't know if it is the 350 plus the 495, or is it the 495 net of the 350 savings requirement. So Hugh, I don't know if you're able to answer that one. Sorry to put you on the spot.
Yeah, so no, it's fine. So it's an overall overspend of £498,000, which takes account of the 350. So it's the 350 that we didn't achieve, plus another 150 grand. So £500,000 give or take in total. It's not 350 and 498.
I was hopeful that that was the case.
Can I compliment the staff involved in home to school transport within the authority for doing the work, because I believe it was destined to be bigger than that. So that's really excellent work there to get it back to that amount. And I'm concerned that we still haven't seen the edited out terms from the scrutiny meetings around that the reports haven't come back to councillors.
I know Mr. Griffiths is not on the call, but I'm aware that information is due to come back to members fairly imminently. I don't know whether Andrew's got a time scale on that, but we've certainly seen it as a management team, but I'm not sure when it's scheduled to be reported back to scrutiny. And it's this scrutiny committee now, I think, as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I've got no update on that, I'm afraid.
Thank you. It won't go to education then?
Oh, sorry. Yes, it falls under the Education Scrutiny Committee now. Yes, that's right. Sorry, you're correct, Councillor Ennis. Yes. That's
right. Yeah. Thank you. And page 109, the overspend in reserves. I've got to work out what my question was there. Where does that mean we took more from reserves overall than we anticipated to, or was that part of the planned budget? We took more from reserves, it appears to me, than was in the original budget projection to do so.
So the original proposal was to draw down £22 million worth of reserves, and we actually ended up drawing down less by around £8 million. So we took less from reserves than we'd originally planned.
Right. So, but there's an overspend in the reserves. I'm confused.
No, I think that just the way we've presented it. So it's probably better to give you something else outside the meeting. We can circulate to all members, just outlaying where reserves started, where we ended, and the movements that were reported to Cabinet during the year. I think it's just the way we presented it in this table.
Thank you, Hugh. It's for those of us who are not au fait with the budgets in detail, it gets confusing at times. Thank you.
No problem. That's fine, no problem.
That's all from me.
Thank you. Thank you for your questions, Councillor Reynolds. We've got one more indication online. Before you come on, Phil, can we go to Sean Percy, please?
Yeah, dear, thank you. Two questions from me, both on page 106 from the environment section. There's a line there regarding the highways maintenance reactive budget overspending by 193,000, and it refers to Storm Dara and traffic management at Carmarthen landslip, which were obviously two exceptional events, though storms becoming sort of more common and regular now, aren't they, really, in our county. I was just wondering, in terms of from a budgetary point of view, is there a standing reserve to deal with these items in terms of the overspend, or have they just been dealt with at the end of the year in terms of that overspend? So I'm just curious, really, how we're budgeting for the unforeseen events in terms of storms, because, as I said, we seem to be getting one sort of key storm, at least one every year, that's causing a bit of trouble for us. And then, do you want me to ask both questions, Chair?
Yes, we will, Sean. Thank you.
Yeah. So, and then the next one is in relation to the building maintenance overspend. It says 424,000 there. So that refers to additional demand for emergency repairs and increased cost of contracts. Just curious, really, how we're looking at that budget for the, for future financial years in terms of that overspend, and whether we've changed that budget and how we're approaching building maintenance. So just curious on that one. Diolch.
Thank you, Sean.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Thank you, Sean. So in terms of the storms, there is a specific reserve within the Environment Directorate for winter maintenance, which is for £668,000, which could be used for storm damage. Now, how significant, I suppose, storm damage would be in terms of how suitable that £668,000 is a question going forward. But there is a reserve there to pay for winter maintenance. In terms of the building maintenance, I think we'll all be familiar with the fact that inflation in terms of maintenance and construction costs has gone through the roof in the last few years. I think it's probably fair to say that the amount of inflation we've allowed in the Environment Directorate budget for this area hasn't been sufficient, hence this overspend. So what Simon Brennan and the head of service is doing now is looking at the whole building maintenance system and seeing if there's any sort of service review needed. But this is definitely on the table in terms of our budget considerations for next year, to make sure that, because this isn't the first year it's overspent, so we need to make sure we actually right-size this budget going forward. So that's being considered in terms of whether it's sufficient or whether there's things that Simon can do to change the way the service is delivered. So that's definitely on the radar, Councillor Percy.
Are you happy with the response, Councillor Percy?
Yeah, if I just make a brief comment, Chair, if that's okay. I'm happy with that. I think I can have a follow up with Simon in terms of the building maintenance budget with my scrutiny hat on. So I'll pick up that if that's being looked at. And I suppose the only other comment in relation to the storms is whether we do need to be a bit more specific in terms of putting money aside for those events if they are becoming more regular. I understand the winter maintenance is sort of a seasonal consideration, but some of these things perhaps feel a bit more distinct. But just a comment there, Chair. Diolch.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Percy. Councillor Phil Rogers next, please.
Thank you very much, Chair. Well done on the job well done today as chairing. Being as it's my last meeting on this scrutiny committee, I think I'd be remiss without asking a question. Okay, and mine refers to page 106, quite a topical one. The reduction in car park income has led to an overspend of 158,000. What I'm looking for here is, as far as the council-owned car parks, I would like a more detailed breakdown of the income from all our car parks and how much they are charging at each car park as well, if possible, please. But if you could know where the overspend has come from in the car parking income, and are there any moves you can make to make that less painful in the future? Thank you.
As you say, Chair, Councillor Rogers, very topical question. in terms of the overspend, as it says in the report, the income is just not meeting the targets that the Environment Directorate had actually put in place in previous years for increased income. I think there are some obvious reasons around that, which we're all familiar with, so I'm not going to go into that in any detail now. And in terms of the information that you requested around car parks, the amount of income per car park and charging, absolutely, we can put that together and get it circulated.
Many thanks, Hugh, and thanks for all the work you're doing. It's brilliant. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for your question, Councillor Rogers. Next is Deputy Leader Anna Swelling, please.
Well, thank you, Chair. I just had a fairly general comment on the overall report. So I don't know if you want to take any specific questions. I understand that the members have indicated as well. I don't know if you want to take their specific questions before I make a general comment with your permission, Chair.
Yes, okay, then, Councillor Llewellyn, we go to Councillor Charlotte Goldsby the next, please.
Hi, I just want to go back to something with Sean's question, but there on the overspend with obviously the storms and obviously Carmarthen Road. I think I'm even starting to be known now as Councillor Temporary Traffic Light up here. But it says there on the report that it's Carmarthen Road 65,000. For 2 years traffic management, and obviously as we progressed, as time went on since the traffic lights obviously came, we were well over £100,000 in costs there. So 65,000 is just thrown me a bit. So was that the actual cost then? Because that's not what I was always told as we went along. It was a lot more.
Yeah. This is only for the one financial year. So 65,000 for the 2024-25, and I think you referred to multiple years there. So obviously, yeah. So that would add up to your 100k plus then, right?
Yeah, that would be right. It was more like the 100,000 probably for the previous year as well.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Goldsby. We now go back to Deputy Leader Anna Swelling, please.
Yeah, thanks very much for permission, Chair. I just wanted to give a brief comment because I think all the questions this afternoon have been very relevant, and I know that some information will need to be provided after the meeting. But just a general comment on the overall budget. Of course, we have a responsibility to set a balanced budget at the start of the year. We all know that the settlement from UK and Welsh governments haven't been sufficient for a number of years, so it is a continuous challenge to set the budget. So I think that a great deal of skilled work is undertaken by the Director of Finance and all of the Directorate colleagues across the authority to bring the final overall figure so close to the original estimates and within budget. So I'd just like to express appreciation, to all the officers that have been working. It's not a one-off process, as we know. It's something which has to be continually worked on throughout the year. And obviously thank everyone for the scrutiny of the figures as well.
Yeah, thank you very much, Deputy Leader. It's very much a team effort. So yeah, thanks very much. Thanks for the comment.
Yeah, thank you for that. Councillor Reynolds, do you want to come back in?
Thank you. Can I just, as in terms of that comment, indicate that I believe we had a better than expected amount from grant initially from Welsh Government, much better than anticipated, and additional, as I understand it, there was additional income at the end, which helped. So, there has been a reasonable amount coming in, and, balanced budgets are always needed to be set.
What was that all about?
Thank you for that, Councillor Reynolds. Leader, Councillor Hunt, have you got a question to raise, please?
No, just a quick response as well, just for the committee to be aware. The outlook for the budget, upcoming budget from Welsh Government, is a 2% RSG, and I think we need to be mindful when comments are made You get X amount of money and you're going to do 10 times more with it. I know they always say let's do things better, smarter. I just want to put on record for members of the committee to be mindful of what they put into the forward work programme and what they need to achieve, because it's right, all the comments, as Alan said, is correct, of course, and some of what Sean said, contingency with storms, etc. But everything that we talk about costs money. Where are we going to get that money from? I don't know. If I'm being honest, I'm quite frank with you all. So I just want you to be mindful, Chair, that while you're deliberating and thinking about all that we need to do, which is correct, we'll need good support and management of funding through scrutiny. There's chairs on this call as well, so I'm talking about across the council here as well, not just on policy and resources. So I just want to get that out there. It's going to be a tough old budget setting this year, and dare I say next year as well. So we could do with a bit of help and support going forward, and any good productive cost saving measures, income generation, please bring it forward, because it's a bit of a plea from me really. But thank you, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Leader. I can see no further hands raised. Just like to thank members for their questions today and for Officers Andrew and Hugh for their responses. Thank you. Now to ask members to note the report, please. Agenda item 5 is to consider items from the Scrutiny Forward Work Programme, and there are no items to consider from the Scrutiny Committee Forward Work Programme today. Moving on to agenda item 6, which is performance monitoring. Again, there are no performance monitoring items to consider. Moving on to agenda item 7, which are the selection of items for future scrutiny, found on pages 225 to 242 of your packs. And this is to go through the forward work programme and add any further items which members may wish to consider. I'm now going to hand over to Alison Thomas to brief you on this. Thank you.
So thank you, Chair. So on your agenda pack today, you've got a copy of both the Cabinet Forward Work Programme and the Scrutiny Forward Work Programme for this committee. You'll see that we've added the Ombudsman Annual Report, which is highlighted in green on the Scrutiny Committee Forward Work Programme. So that will now be considered in October. With regards to the Cabinet Forward Work Programme, I think we've pulled most of the reports for scrutiny, Chair, and they've been programmed into our Scrutiny Committee Forward Work Programme. The only outstanding items which I need to bring forward are the monitoring reports, which I believe will go into Cabinet in November and March. So they'll be programmed into our Scrutiny Committee Forward Work Programme. There are also still 2 outstanding items, Chair, from our Forward Work Programme workshop, which we held. So these are on town and community councils and third sector partnerships. So now pre-brief, I did ask for further information on those, and I've had that further information. So I'll now go back and speak with officers about those 2 items. I've also as well, Chair, just to remind members of the list of reports that were circulated to members with regards to HR. If members wish to call any of those for scrutiny, you can either let myself or the Chair know, and we will pop those onto the Scrutiny Forward Work Programme, Chair, to bring forward. And that's the list that I have, Chair.
Thank you, Alison. Members, are you happy with the response from Alison today? If we just keep an eye on the packs when they sent out. Thank you. Moving on to agenda item 8, which is any urgent items at the discretion of the chairperson pursuant to section 100 BA 6B of the Local Government Act 1972 as amended. There are no urgent items. Before you go, I'd like to wish a speedy recovery for Councillor, his name is gone by, Crowley, who's in Morrison Hospital at present, awaiting surgery, which apparently he's having tomorrow morning. So wish him a speedy recovery. Thank you all for joining us this afternoon. Have a nice rest of the evening. Thank you all. Thanks very much.